knowledge, strength, integrity. In recent times, internet personality Olajide Olatunji, or KSI, has gotten himself into some deep waters. So he's decided he's gonna just take a break from social media for a while. And here's why. Wade Flemons is a prominent commentator in the boxing space that uses his platform to put his opinions and predictions out to many, including those who'd rather not hear it. See, he's very vocal about his support for the new wave of influencer boxing, and that came with him deciding to work for Misfits Boxing. Well, he worked for them up until a few days ago, when he was fired live on Twitter Space.
Built that fight more.
Anyway, have fun on Kingpin, Wade.
See, there you go.
Kingpin is an opposing influencer boxing corporation who later was revealed to have been trying to take Wade as one of their commentators. And after his public firing from Misfits successfully did, and it all started because of a simple YouTube video. And you may be wondering what any of this has to do with KSI. Well, the one who just rudely fired Wade out of nowhere is Mams Taylor, KSI's manager. And it doesn't seem to have been a one-person decision. Anyways, after uploading his video titled KSI vs. Jake Paul is not happening, where he elaborated on this idea by saying that Jake versus someone would probably outsell the Jake vs. KSI fight, backing this up by looking at the insane ticket sales of Jake's Tommy Fury fight. He then went over the insane amount of reasons as to why the fight just doesn't work at this point in time. To put it simply, both KSI and Jake Paul have lives of their own, and this fight, although appealing to them in theory, as shown by both of their general interest, it just doesn't seem to fit their schedules.
This is the problem with dealing with egos and superstars of the level of KSI and Jake. They have their own separate plans, and it seems more like Jake's plan doesn't necessarily have to do with KSI as much as KSI's plan has to do with Jake. We know from that same Impulsive podcast that Jake wants the rematch with Tommy as soon as possible. He wants to go and get that one back. And I don't blame him for it. As a competitor, he should want to do that. Does it mean the result will change? I don't think so, at least not right now, unless there are major changes from Jake going into that rematch. Technically, skill-wise, he has to get better. Approach and game plan, all that stuff, I wouldn't say has to change drastically, but something does have to change. It doesn't mean that Jake is scared of going and fighting KSI. In fact, that fight in December can still happen, but what I think is happening is KSI and Mams Taylor putting the same pressure on Jake that Jake put on JJ for years. After JJ left the scene and Jake said, he'll never fight me, he doesn't want to fight me. I tried to fight him in August for free, he wasn't going to do it, although I don't think Jake was going to do that for free either. It is exactly what I said a second ago. Guys are just flipping spots. Now JJ is the one pushing for the Jake fight and saying that Jake wants no part of him, but also knowing that he is vulnerable after a Tommy loss and that he wants to rematch Tommy. It is a very opportune time to start pushing for that fight. And again, I don't blame them for that. If you're Mams Taylor, if you're JJ, you absolutely push for the Jake fight right now because the potential of it does hang in the balance a bit. But it's pretty simple from Jake's side. He wants to get his rematch and potentially even fight Floyd Mayweather, which is a rumor I'm hearing, and now Vegas even has odds on that fight happening as early as this year. And we heard from Jake in the Impulsive podcast, he does not think that the KSI fight sells like a Tommy Fury rematch and a Floyd Mayweather fight. And I don't know that I can disagree with him right now. I don't, because they pulled some legitimately crazy numbers. And while I used to be on the train that Jake and KSI did similar numbers, I don't know that that's the case anymore. In fact, with the right build, they absolutely could, but I do think it takes a little bit of time to get people back on board with the influencer beef between the two, because Jake has kind of left it behind and KSI has been focused on other things. Something else.
Wade pointed out the idea that people may be losing interest in the beef between the pair, and KSI's ego took over through his Twitter, where he said, "Man, fuck Wade," along with, "This Wade guy plays all sides. Trying to please everyone? You're so fake, OMG. Fuck you and everything you stand for, you two-faced cunt." And this man acts like he knows everything about boxing. He doesn't know shit. You're not that guy. Can't believe Sharky let this snake into my box. Fuck off. Around this point in time, the Twitter space with Wade and KSI's manager happened, where their discussions quickly turned hostile and Wade was fired, all over a harmless opinion. Also around this time, a new episode of Sidecast, which is an exclusive podcast the Sidemen host behind a paywall, came out. If you didn't already know, along with 6 of his friends, KSI is part of an infamous YouTube group, the Sidemen, which we'll discuss more in depth later on in the video, but first, let's go back to the Sidecast. On the new episode, KSI discussed everything. Keep in mind, this is after he already apologized on Twitter, saying how he's sorry for his past tweets. It was out of his character, and they already spoke in private, but he wanted to publicly apologize too.
Wade is obviously allowed to have his opinion on anything. He can, it's a free society. You can say whatever you want, do whatever you want. That's cool. But I'm okay. I'm allowed to hate on it as well. Like, I'm allowed to not like his opinion.
You're allowed to disagree with his opinion.
Yeah. So with his opinion on the tag team,
stop flinging your hand at me.
Sorry. So the reason why I was like he's two-faced is because behind the scenes he's there like, this tag team idea, brilliant, I love it. And then online he's there like, not sure about this. Don't think this is a good idea. I'm like, bro. One minute you're saying you like it to me in private, and publicly you're saying what the public want to hear. So with Wade, he just wants to constantly
be on everyone's good side, as a journalist would.
Side.
Yeah, he's got to play the game. That is his job role and his whole thing.
But I guess obviously that's going to rub me the wrong way.
Of course, but the public don't have that full story. So they're seeing him put out this little clip, and then they're seeing you bug out over this little clip, and they're thinking, this is a massive overreaction.
I did bug out, and I do apologize. That was bad.
So it could have been simple, like fuck this guy. You was like, fuck your whole character.
You could have bugged out to him directly and been like, I don't agree with this.
I don't rate this.
Yeah.
And the whole world didn't have to see it.
That's why I decided to delete that, and I've messaged Wade, and I've said, I'm sorry. I can.
You just said,
I'll say exactly what I said.
I think what you've done is arse, and then just say that privately. Say, I think what you've done is arse, man.
So I've told the mans about him on firing you. I think that was a bit far. My outburst was uncalled for, so my bad. I'm sorry for the tweets. However, I just don't feel comfortable talking to you, fam. We can be civil publicly, but your comments just rub me the wrong way, just like Kavos does or other people. You can have your opinions, go crazy, but it don't mean I have to like them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, of course.
As explained by Wade in his video response to KSI, this clip completely undermines what he said in his apology. And according to Wade, KSI was blatantly lying.
So, none of this is true. I can't believe JJ just flat out said that to the Sidemen. And by the way, the Sidemen themselves are getting this information from JJ, but I genuinely like those guys. Toby, Ethan, Josh, I like those guys. I've only met them a couple times, and to be honest, I liked JJ, and I still want to like JJ, but I don't know if he's confused or if he's just flat out lying here, but none of this has happened. What I said about tag team boxing on camera is the same thing that I said behind the scenes.
Tag team boxing is heavily mentioned. It seems to be exactly what it sounds like. Opponents tagging in and out with their teammates throughout the course of a boxing match. This idea was being worked on by Mams Taylor at Misfits, and although KSI accused him of being two-faced, Wade showed many examples that the exact opposite were indeed true. Like when he messaged Mams that he initially wasn't a huge fan before he posted anything, and when he did post, proclaimed the same general idea, that it could be a sore spot.
The reason you have to tag out is because imagine someone is faking like they're going to go tag, right? Like they step into that circle, they turn, boom, throw the right hand over, You could get some safety issues could be a real thing here. This is why this, again, I told everybody involved, I need to see this before I really make a judgment on it. So no, I didn't hate tag team boxing. I didn't like the idea of it because of the health and safety involved with the fighters. I never said I loved the idea behind the scenes. I said that I wasn't quite sure about it and it didn't make sense to me and I needed to see it. And I know I'm taking the long way around here, but I just want to make sure you guys fully understand how wrong this is what they are saying. Again, this whole time, I had not spoken to KSI about it once.
He once again showed how he stayed true both on and offline by, once again, leaking his messages with Mams Taylor after he saw it in action and told Mams that it was a lot smoother than he thought and could actually work, backing up the same idea to his followers.
The variety that you get with Misfits is something I think is pretty dope. It isn't just one steady thing. There's a lot of different things you can latch onto and say, that's why I watch Misfits. That is why I watch influencer boxing. I'm not too mad at that. I just want to make sure it's done right, where I complimented the idea of tag team boxing because now I had seen it and I was showing people how it could possibly operate if done safely. So, KSI, you flat out lied here. And I can't believe you have because you had no reason to. JJ, you either lied or you're getting your information from people you may want to start to look a little closer at, because I don't know what you're saying here, but it's flat out untrue.
In Wade's response, he continued with defending his character, explaining how he's not trying to appeal to everyone, and once again, backing up his claims.
So, no, I don't just want to be on everyone's good side. I don't just say what the public wants to hear. JJ, you should know better than anyone that I don't do that. When the first time we met, I made sure on the record, right in front of you, when Alex Wasabi pulled out of that fight while I was in Clapham, and I got all the news, and I came to you and I already knew the right information. And to you, just like I had on Twitter when people attacked me for saying Alex Wasabi had a factual concussion and could not fight on 2 to 3 weeks' notice and should not fight with a recent concussion on 2 to 3 weeks' notice, I said the same thing to you in front of you in our interview.
I think Swarms is a better fighter than Alex Wasabi.
Really?
Yes, because at least he can get into the ring.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait,
Okay.
what about Alex? Where's Alex?
Yeah,
couldn't even make it into the ring. So
listen, obviously Alex is got the concussion issues. We want to make sure that we sensitive to that.
I mean,
it is what it is, right? We move on.
I mean, Jake Paul's clowning on him.
I did see that.
Jake Paul's clowning on Alex, even though that's his guy.
It's his representative. I don't know what happened
I don't know.
Wade also mentioned how, while promoting his own energy drink, he claimed it was scientifically better than Prime, which is a drink KSI helped found. Which may have also been a factor in the angst, but I highly doubt it, considering the drastic difference in size between the two brands.
But the last big thing, and I guess this is where we'll end off, that was a big deal behind the scenes that came into the public, and again, just me being transparent, since these things are public now, you guys heard Mams Taylor. Who else has built that fight like this? Look at my channel.
No.
Who has built that fight more?
Anyway, have fun on Kingpin, Wade.
I was offered to commentate Kingpin's tournament, and I turned that offer down multiple times because just like I told Kingpin and just like I told Mams, I wanted to help build Misfits and DAZN together. I wanted to help build the influencer boxing scene, and I saw Misfits and DAZN as the best way to do that. And after weeks and weeks of getting this offer from Kingpin and turning it down, and actually when they asked me who would be a better fit if it wasn't me, pointing to my brother and saying FaZe Sensei, because people have not put the respect on his name for being one of the best in our scene at what he does, not only breaking down fights, but showing real-life application of who has advantages because he does this. He got that opportunity, and when I tell you, I'm so happy for Isaiah. Like, he deserves that, and he's going to show you guys exactly why. That was fine, but the offer came in again to work alongside Sensei, and I went to Mams Taylor as recently as this week with that offer because no, I'm not under contract with Misfits. I'm not even under long-term contract with DAZN, but I was trying to build and I was trying to establish that long-term deal by telling Mams Taylor I want to be involved long-term with Misfits and DAZN. I want to help build this scene, but I can't do this thing back and forth where I'm in purgatory and there's this deal on the table. I'm bringing it to you to say, I don't want to go do this. And again, it was the same answer, the purgatory thing, where they didn't know if they wanted to work long term. And I was pissing people off behind the scenes and he talked to people. And to this day, I never got that answer, but I don't think I was ever going to get it. But that's how Mams Taylor had the ammo to use that against me. And it is what it is, I guess. It was just something that was private, made public. And again, if we're talking about people being two-faced, it wasn't me that did that.
After all this, KSI put even more out on Twitter. Talk to Wade. And this time, I'm actually sorry. Legit, this whole thing has just been a big misunderstanding. We both want the same thing. Success for everyone in the influencer boxing scene. Wade is a good guy. I messed up completely. My bad, man. Although Wade seems to have accepted his apology, saying, JJ, you're a real one for the call, man. Genuinely, I appreciate you reaching out. And you're right, the scene deserves us all working towards its success. Many haven't taken it so lightly. Comments like, not gonna lie, Wade, you gotta stop accepting his apologies so easily, and you a good guy, Wade, but my advice is don't surround yourself with people like Mams and KSI, are flying around the web. Not only did KSI seem to have largely overreacted in the situation, but Wade still seems to be affected, even after accepting the apology given. Yes, KSI said that Wade would be welcomed back to Misfits with open arms, because I should mention, KSI is the CEO, but nevertheless, after what happened, why would he want to return? Especially after his supposed toxic relationship with the higher-ups. So, as mentioned prior, Wade has moved over to Kingpin, and KSI moved over to a different controversy. Every Sunday, KSI, along with Mini Minter, Zerka, Tobe Jizzle, Bazinga, Vicstar123, and Rhoda Shaw, upload on their group channel, Sidemen. They have many other channels they stay frequent on, but the most notorious is their main, Sidemen channel, which their brand also revolves around. In this channel's most recent upload, which has since been deleted, they played a game called Countdown, and an offensive slur was used.
Look, we need points in it, all right? I don't mean this maliciously, but the word... I'm sorry. Look, we need points. I don't... Guys, come on.
The word said is a slur, used to describe people from Pakistani. If you aren't aware why this word is offensive and more than just a shortened version of the word Pakistani, it's because of its deep history, tied back to anti-immigrant attackers. During 1985 alone, there were around 20,000 racist attacks on British people of color, mainly Pakistani bashing. Many people came out to cover the situation, one of the most prominent being Smile Tujana on Twitter, who had this to say.
Assalamu alaikum guys, I'm sure you've seen the clip of KSI, the famous British YouTuber. Alongside the Sidemen, they were doing some sort of countdown in which KSI used the Paki word, which is a racial slur against South Asians. In fact, it's used against anyone of a brown color. And I'm seeing certain people in the comments saying, oh, I'm Asian, I'm Pakistani, and I don't see it as an offense. I don't see it as something bad. With all due respect, that's because you haven't had to live through that being sprayed at you, not even spoken and shouted at you, just sprayed at you in the way that it happened to our parents and our grandparents. They're the ones that get to decide, because they're the ones that actually paved the way for us to come here, not you sitting at home, most of your time's probably spent in a digital realm anyway, with people that you can't even see. I mean, things are okay now. It may not be used in such a derogatory way now, but the way it's been racially charged and used as hatred, as our mothers, sisters and brothers and fathers were being bullied using this term. It be Indian, Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Sikh, whether you're part of a culture or religion. If you're brown, even black people were kind of used, these terms were used against them. So rather than jumping up and being that self-loathing brown guy, oh, I'm okay with it. With all due respect, learn your history. Learn your history, and then you will not be making such mistakes. And KSI's response was, look, I apologize, and that's good. It's good that he's apologized, but then he goes on to say, that's why I say don't keep me on a pedestal. That's why I say I'm not a good role model. And you don't have to be off a pedestal, or you don't have to be somebody that's not a role model to be able to identify basic common slurs. That's a slur. And, that's not really acceptable of somebody at his stature. I mean, look, I understand a lot of people are snowflakes. This is not a snowflake thing. It doesn't get more clearer than this. You know what I'm saying?
As mentioned by Smile Tujana, KSI did release a statement on his Twitter saying, I want to apologize for saying a racial slur in a recent Sidemen video. There's no excuse, no matter the circumstances. I shouldn't have said it, and I'm sorry. I've always said to my audience that they shouldn't worship me or put me on a pedestal because I'm human. I'm not perfect. I'm gonna mess up in life, and lately I've been messing up a lot. So I've decided I'm just gonna take a break from social media for a while. Along with this statement, he spoke on his behalf.
Right. Hi. Morning, everyone. So I want to read a statement which I've written to make sure I express myself as clearly and cover everything I want to say. First of all, I want to address a recent incident in a video whereby my actions have affected many people, especially in the South Asian community. I want to take this opportunity to offer my deepest and most sincere apologies for my words and actions. In a recent video, I used a racial term that is offensive to so many, especially in the South Asian community. There were no excuses for what I said, and I recognize I've caused a lot of hurt and disappointment to so many people that look up to me. And my ignorance has only reinforced the negative stereotypes that have existed for way too long in this country. I want to express my heartfelt regret for what I said, and I want you to know that I am genuinely ashamed and deeply sorry for any pain or suffering I have caused. I realize that my words have consequences, and as a public figure, I have a responsibility to use my platform for good rather than perpetuating discrimination. And this week I have failed to do this. Privately, I have taken the time to engage in very early conversations with some people from South Asian communities, and will continue to do so in the coming weeks and months ahead. I will continue to educate myself on the rich history and diverse cultures of South Asia and the struggles faced by its people. I am committed to doing better, being a better ally, and use my platform to uplift marginalized voices. Now, I want to say again that how truly sorry I am for my actions. I know that it's going to take time and effort to really regain the trust and respect of those I've hurt, and I'm prepared to tirelessly work to make sure I make amends. I hope my sincere apology and commitment to educate myself will be a step towards healing and unity, and I fully understand that my actions will speak louder than my words. So thank you for listening, man.
He didn't seem to have made the statements of him changing for no reason, as he does seem to have visited a mosque with the intention to educate himself.
With the intention of malice. Even those probably sat on the side, man, they probably didn't understand. They might have just been like, laughed off a little slightly.
It was ignorance from what I saw, that's what it was.
Did I not mention that word? Yeah. But that's what he's part of learning.
Yeah. Everyone
he's here to learn about what it is. He's never been in a mosque, he said. Yeah.
And Ahmad Muhammad Asim came forward to say that they had a genuine, sincere conversation. As mentioned in his statement and the comments, this guy has been taking a lot of L's recently. Between the situations we've covered, like his feud with Wade and saying a slur, and those we haven't, like how he was extremely ungrateful towards customization YouTuber Marco just a month back.
I don't think JJ liked the shoes.
Wow,
Oh, bro. Nah, man. These were dead. I have them. They're in my house. Like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the time and effort. They're dead. I can't wear these with anything. Like, the color scheme is just weird and wrong. Like, why is there snake skin on the side? Like, what's he trying to say? Am I a snake or something? Like, what? KSI on it as well. It's just a hella cringe. Like, I can't wear these. I don't know, maybe I'm being mean. I think I'm being mean. I don't mean to be mean. I'm sorry. I'm just being real.
And this is why I gave this reaction.
Wow, these
got your name on it.
Yeah, no, it's sick, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, customers. I got the all white ones. And...
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, man.
And how he seemed to have stuck by Logan Paul throughout his scams, it just shows that something isn't quite right. I'm sure KSI is a good person at heart, and he'll come back and show us all because he always seemed to be pure. But as of now, he has some growing to do.